Hello everybody, this is jaydenshaunts, and today what we have to unbox and set up is courtesy of the at-home store, the 5-foot LED Violinist skeleton. This is a new for 2025 animatronic, and when I saw it, I thought it would be really cool to add with my Reaper band. We don't know what this thing does, we don't know how it actually looks out of the box, we've only seen the stock photos. I just happened to see it at my store and grabbed it because we have in with the people at our stores. So we're going to go ahead and cut the tape at the top, and this will be the first showcase on the internet at all of this item, and we'll be getting an exclusive first look together with everybody. So this item, if I am not mistaken, is made by Jimmy Industries through the Party Time factory. So I'm not expecting a whole lot out of it, but still it'll be neat to see. So right off the bat, here is his head. That is blow mold plastic, which is nice. And I see that he does have the quote unquote outdoor grade control box, as it does have the plastic thing there. His hands are latex, so that is definitely not going to be very good for outdoors, assuming it is. But there is a warning. It's not typical Jimmy warning, so maybe it's not by Jimmy. But we'll find out here in a second. We'll go ahead and get all the parts laid out and show you. But again, there is the head. The head is blow mold plastic. Here is the costume. And I see two motors on it. One of them definitely going to the hand and the torso. So it looks like he's going to strum the violin and turn his torso, which is going to be neat. There is an extremely strange... Oh, there's also a chimey button in there. Okay, I thought that was the adapter pin. That is not. There is the adapter. And then it also comes with some zip ties and a chimey button. And the hands, again, which look very strange, actually. These are some pretty odd looking hands. But they are latex, unfortunately. But they're just normal skeleton hands. They can be swapped out with just normal plastic skeleton hands. I'm not too worried about that. This, I assume, is his violin. We'll open that in a second. But this is the main module. Looks like it's got a small control box, unfortunately. So I'm not sure how that audio quality is going to be. It does have volume control, but then there's also the legs, the base, and the hip ring in here. So I'm going to go ahead and get the rest of it unpackaged. We'll get everything laid out, make sure I have everything, make sure you have everything, and we'll get to his setup. Here is everything that the Violinist comes with. You have the instructions, the main module torso motor frame with the control box and all that stuff attached, the violin, the bow, the hip ring, 2 straight leg pulls, 2 leg pulls with fork connectors, 2 leg pulls with padding, the blow mold head, 2 arms left and right with hands attached, the baggie that has the adapter, zip ties, and chimey button, the bag with the clothing, and the base. Let's get to a setup. Your first step is to snap lock both of your straight pulls labeled B into the back part of the base labeled A. Then you're going to locate your hip ring and just slide that on over your 2 B pulls. Now you're going to locate your whole torso motor frame assembly with the shoulders and snap lock that on top of here. After snapping on your torso assembly with all the mechanics, go ahead and slide on your hip ring to the back connectors, and then locate your 2 little poles labeled C with the fork connectors and slide those on in. Now you're going to locate your poles labeled D with the foam padding, and you're going to snap lock those on to the corresponding spots, matching C to C on here, and then snap locking them into the base. Now you're going to go ahead and slide the costume on over the frame, and then you're going to locate his arms and slide those up through the sleeves and attach them to the fork connectors and the shoulders. After attaching the arms, you're going to go ahead and locate the hole that is here in the side of the costume, just under the neck area. You're going to pull out that fork connector, and you're going to just slide in your violin like so. I'm going to do this off camera so I can do it with 2 hands to get this wire out of the way, because that wire is going to be for the eyes of the skeleton's head. After attaching the violin, go ahead and slide on the head to the corresponding fork connectors and plug in that yellow and white wire to ensure that the eyes glow. Now we're going to grab the bow of the violin and bend the fingers to hold the bow correctly, and then zip tie the index finger to the bow. After spending an absurd amount of time trying to figure out how to pose these fingers correctly. I will say this was very tedious to do because this latex on these hands is so thin. This latex is just horrible. I will definitely recommend, if you love this thing, to keep it. I'm currently loving it so far, but as you can see, I'm not sure how well you're going to see it. You can see where the latex turned white because of how much struggling I was doing, just bending the fingers. The latex was starting to rip in some of these places. I'm not sure if you could see. You can see the paint cracking from how I had to do that, and it's even ripping right there. But these hands are just atrocious. I would be very careful if you buy it. Again, those hands are very easily replaceable. The rest of the figure seems to be pretty nice quality. But after that, your setup is complete. After I spent probably 20 minutes trying to pose those fingers and hands correctly. But after that, all that's left to do is plug it in and watch it go. Go ahead and plug in the motion sensor that is on the inside of the body. There is a cord going to be coming from this to the control box. This is an IR sensor that works in both the light and the dark. And here he is, all set up and ready to go. He has one phrase. It is an hour, not an hour, excuse me. It is a minute of dialogue. We're going to go ahead and wave my arm right in front of it and show it to you.
Wanderer, come to listen to my sinister strains. Stay too long and you may go mad with my music. In the moon's pale glow, shadows dance to my haunting melody. They whisper forgotten secrets, lost in the echoes of time. Beware, for curiosity binds into my spectral strings. As the last note fades, the veil between realms thins, the boundary blurs, and madness beckons. Flee now, wanderer, or forever be ensnared by my cursed composition.
Now I'm going to turn off the lights and show you him in the dark.
My music. In the moon's pale glow, shadows dance to my haunting melody. They whisper forgotten secrets.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the new for 2025 5-foot. Reason I say that in air quotes is because this is definitely taller than 5 foot. Violinist Reaper from At Home. As much as I love this thing, it definitely has its flaws, as do most animatronics you purchase in retail. One thing I will say is that these hands are not the greatest. As I mentioned previously, they were cracking and ripping. You can see the paint kind of chipping and then the latex turning white because of how it had to be stretched to properly pose it to make it look like he's actually holding the violin. They are not easy to pose. I probably spent 20-25 minutes trying to pose them correctly without ripping it, and I did fail to not rip it in one spot. There is one little kink right there where I did accidentally rip it, but if you keep it in climate control, it's not going to have an issue. But again, I really wish we would get away from latex, especially on something like this that you have to manhandle so much, because if you didn't know, with latex, the oils on your skin make latex dry rot faster. So having to manhandle these as long as you do already shortens the lifespan of this latex, which sucks. But now that you have them posed, there's no reason to really unpose them. Just put them back in the box like that. But I'm going to get rid of those hands altogether at some point, maybe not this year, maybe in the summer when we're not as busy, and just give it plastic hands and get a heat gun to pose them properly. Other than that, this is a pretty solid animatronic. There is nothing on it that I would say is really cheap and you need to watch out for durability wise besides these hands. Again, hands are replaceable. The bow, standard plastic. This is just nylon string. The violin is hard plastic, and these are actually adjustable, and it kind of just it does make noise. Of course, it's not intended to make noise to play with, but it does make noise if you so desire. The costume is not landscape fabric. This is creepy cloth with a nylon underlay, excuse me, and this is some pretty hefty creepy cloth. This is some nice quality creepy cloth. I actually wish I knew where I could buy this, because I have some things that I would love to put this on as well. But it's got the 2 motions, which again, we didn't know what it did. I was fully expecting some just generic stock audio YouTube violin music, but I was really shocked to see the dialogue. I love his dialogue. It's not really a haunt animatronic. It's more of just an indoor piece just to have in your home. That's what we plan to use it for. We might use it for Halloween. After seeing it, I don't think it's going to clash very well with my Reaper band, but I do love it enough to display it inside my house with our indoor Halloween decor. So I am excited to get him all hooked up and going for this Halloween, and hopefully running for a Halloween party if we do end up having that this year. But again, I'm going to go back to the height. I'm going to put on your screen right now how tall he actually is, because he is definitely taller than 5 foot, unless I am way off of my perspective, but I'm still going to put it on your screen if he's taller than 5 foot or not. But yeah, he's plug-in. He doesn't have a battery option, but that's fine. We usually use the plugs and everything anyway. Batteries don't last. He's got volume control, and for having that small speaker, it projects very well. It is very loud and clear, and one thing that I really don't like about the speaker is that the speaker is projecting out of his back instead of to the front of him, which I'm surprised about, that you can still hear it and understand it so clearly with it projecting out of its back. But that's not really a big deal. It does have an IR sensor instead of a crappy light sensor. Those light sensors that are just horrible. This will work in both the light and the dark. It senses body heat. And one thing that I think is really cool about this is that it's not intended to be like this, but it is very easy to do. These poles in the back, those 2 straight poles in the back labeled B, if you took those off and just snap lock the torso module into the base and let the foam legs dangle off, you can very easily put him in a chair, which I think would be cool. But overall, I love this guy. I don't think he is worth the retail of $230. However, At Home does have 15% off coupons, and they do run promotions during the Halloween season. With that 15% off coupon, I believe he runs about $195, which I do think is more worth it. I personally think that this animatronic should have been more around the starting retail of about $180. I understand times are changing and these things are barely coming into the ports, but again, I don't think it is worth $230. I think a $180 price point would have been more worth it for this guy. But if you are in the market for a violin skeleton, I do think you won't regret your decision. This is a really cool prop, and that 15% off knocks him down to under $200. I'd say that's worth it for him. He's really, really cool, and I'm really excited to get him hooked up and going for Halloween this season. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, rate, comment, and subscribe.
Sinister strains. Stay tuned.